Hi Disney besties, welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, then you have just made your way into the Disneyverse, and I'm so glad that you decided to come along. And if you are a recurring guest, then I'm more than happy for you to come again so we can have some fun together. Today, for this video, we are really putting the title Beyond the Disneyverse into effect, meaning that we are going to be talking about the side of Disney that not a lot of people exist, past, present, and not the future, because I'm not psychic. We are breaking down each movie that Disney has owned in previous years or own to this day, companies that they have bought, companies that they have sold or shut down because of reasons, just all that in between stuff. So without further ado, let's just fly into it. So I would like to start off with a company that took me totally by surprise when I was doing my research for this video. The first one is Miramax Films, which I like to call Disney's indie era, which came into effect in 1993 and made its closing in 2010. So the whole Miramax Films idea was presented in 1973, and it was basically the hit indie era in the 1990s. They released movies like Pulp Fiction, Good Men in Hunting, Shakespeare in Love, Chicago, and finally No Country for Good Men, just to name a few. In 1993, Disney decided to buy Miramax Films, so all those movies were technically Disney owned, but here's the flip that gets people. The movies itself were all still Miramax ideas. That's why they were all considered R-rated, why they stayed very edgy, very R-rated, and basically nowhere near Disney that they were going for. Disney bought Miramax Films basically because Disney knew that they were winning Oscars from each movie that they were producing. And Disney at the time was going through a little rough patch with their films, which I don't believe that they should have, but they did. So that is one of the main reasons why they bought Miramax Films. Touchstone Pictures, which came out in 1984 and ran until 2018. So Disney created Touchstone Pictures to create more of a film base that was mostly for adults. That's how we got films like Armageddon, The Rushmore, and The Royal Tenenbaums. And again, so much more, but those were like the main popular movies that were getting adult attention. Now, unlike other companies that are going to be said during this video, Disney never sold Touchstone. They just quietly stopped using it, and eventually they retired the name completely in 2016. Now, by the 2010s, Disney has obtained a bunch of already famous companies like Lucasfilm, Pixar back in the 2000s, and they had their big Disney company that was taking by storm. And basically the reason why they quietly shut it down is because they didn't want too many confusing labels, and they just wanted to mainly focus on their main goal in Disney, which was focused on kids. Now, a lot of you are probably going to recognize this, mostly people that are older than this generation. Buena Vista, which was 1953. Sorry, cut the whole part. Buena Vista, which, if you guys know, you know. It occurred in 1953 and ended in 2007. Now, Buena Vista was never a company to begin with or to end without. It was just a distribution label that Disney acquired. That's why you'll see Buena Vista in some very old Disney classics or some adult or oriented films or some Disney live action films that was made back in the day. Now, like I said, Disney retired once again this name in 2007 solely because, again, they didn't want too many labels and they really just wanted the Disney brand on their films. Now, this one's my favorite because it also does acquire a studio name that has been a part of the movie classics that I watched when I was a kid, and I'm talking about 20th Century Fox / Blue Sky Studios. And that was founded by Disney, basically, from 2019, so forth, meaning it's still continuing. Now, back in 2019, Disney officially bought the 20th Century Fox brand in its whole, and at that time, they were kind of using Blue Sky Studios still for its labels, but they were kind of trying to get off it. This gave Disney a bunch of rights to its movies, such as like Titanic, Alien, Die Hard, Home Alone 1, 2, and 3, Mrs. Doubtfire, X-Men, and so many more. Like I said, this deal also included Blue Sky Studios. Now, Blue Sky Studios was founded in 1987, but was purchased by Fox in 1997. And so on and so forth. And during that time, they were releasing a bunch of movies like the most anticipated, famous franchise Ice Age, with their first movie coming out in 2002. Now, all of you are probably wondering, because I wondered it too, why did some movies still say 20th Century Fox in their labels or Blue Sky Studios in their label? Well, it's because that they were still using that label before Disney bought the whole company in itself. And even before Fox bought Blue Sky was using some of its labeling. But here's what it gets confusing. In 2002, they were using Blue Sky and 20th Century Fox, because technically Fox did buy Blue Sky, but since it was new, they just wanted to keep continuing using the two, if that makes sense. Now in 2021, because of reasons that we probably all know, because of pandemic issues and cost-related things, Disney had to permanently shut down Blue Sky Studios. So, which meaning that they still have the 20th Century label. That's why in Disney-owned 20th Century Fox Studios movies, they still include that like scene, but it's Disney. Now, this is not really a company, but I like to mention this because a lot of people get confused, and this was a confusing buyout that Disney made. And this is the Muppets, which is 2004 to the present day. So in 2004, Disney did buy most of the Muppets rights, including being able to use all characters from like Muppet history and being able to create movies using the Muppet name. So basically, in other words, Disney bought the Muppet Studio. But here's the tricky part. Disney did not buy the separate Jim Henson Productions studio / company. In other words, some classic content like the Muppet Show that came out in the 70s and like ended in somewhere in the 80s is still partially owned by the Jim Henson family. Now all of you are probably scratching your heads once again, because if you're a huge Disney park fan such as myself, you know that both Disneyland and Disney World had a show called Muppet Vision 3D, and at Disney World they had a huge Muppet courtyard, and that's because that they both were acquired in the parks when Disney already signed a contract obtaining all the Muppet Studio rights. And with that contract that Jim Henson did sign himself, at Disneyland it acquired the Muppet Vision 3D only, but at Disney World it acquired Muppet Vision 3D and the Muppet Courtyard, which, by the way, both are gone on both parks, but they will be missed. So, to keep everything simplified, a short summary saying what Disney bought, sold, or shut down, and is still kept going. So, Disney sold Miramax Films back in 2010. Disney retired Touchstone Pictures back in 2016. Buena Vista Pictures was retired back in 2007. Blue Sky Studios was retired and shut down in 2021. And and a little sprinkle of pixie dust companies that Disney has bought and kept, and some are the ones I didn't really go into detail because we all know why they bought them. So Pixar, they acquired that company in 2006, the whole Marvel studio in 2009, Lucasfilms back in 20th Century Fox assets in 20th Century Fox assets 20 20th Century Fox assets back in 2019 and the Muppet Studio back in 2004. Thank you guys so much for watching. This was actually really fun for me to research. I was surprised at how many labels Disney has bought over the years. And some of the movies that I've mentioned, it didn't occur to me that Disney owned it sometime over the years. It just blows my mind. And hopefully some of these lists made you wonder, because it made me wonder. So yeah, thank you so much. And if you guys know any secrets or well-known facts that I didn't know, because I know that there's so many still out there, please comment below. I would love to hear that. I love to hear new facts about Disney. And make sure you are subscribed and you tell your friends, and hit that enchanted bell so you don't miss anything. Well, that is it for me today. I will see you guys later, and yeah.